All right. Well, hey, coaches. It is Monday. It is October 30th. We're coming to the end of another month. Super excited to be here with your leadership team. We just came back from Orlando. We were at the Advanced Leadership Conference. So, of course, we are fired up. Just came back with a renewed energy, more information, a lot of training. And I'm so excited that so many of us have shown up for this. So, Meg, I just want to check, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, cool. I am going to make you a co-host so you can continue to help us let people in and jump in when needed. But all of us are going to be sharing that attended the conference. So I'm going to kind of try to keep this short at the end. But I'm just curious because we've got 56 of us on the call right now. That's more than we've been having recently. So we're super excited to see you. What interested you about the name Family Meeting, or what was it that made you want to hop on tonight? Maybe put it in the chat for us. Kind of, how are you feeling, and what is it that you came to learn, or why was this important to you? So much love. The dream is alive. Coach texted me. Awesome. We're family. Personal invite. Love our community. Rocking my schedule. Family meetings, significant importance. Yeah. Excited to hear about the training. Good, good. Well, one thing excited to hear about the weekend. Thank you guys. Keep it coming. We love seeing your input. Always using the chat. It just makes it interactive. We like to know that we're providing something that is resonating with you. So when things resonate, pop it in the chat, use your reactions. We love all of that. But Meg, you made a great point about family, right? And family coming together. You mentioned it earlier when we were prepping for this. So I just thought maybe if you wanted to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really feel like the people here, you, me, the people in the boxes around you, we are a family, right? And what do we know about our own families and just family in general is we get better when we're together and when we're more connected. So we are so encouraged that so many of you are here and you want to be connected and you want to learn and grow together because that's our heart. And one of the things that we have noticed over the last couple of months is we haven't seen as many people, right? And so that's one reason why we are so excited about everybody being here. And so I would just encourage you to make it a rock in your schedule, just like somebody said in the comments, and make it a point to be here so that you can be invested in the community and be one of us, because we see you as one of us. And I know sometimes as people, we want to turtle or we want to hide, but we want this to be for you. We want to focus on you, and we're glad you're here.
Yeah, so we're just going to go over a couple of things that really stood out at the meeting, and that whole Phoenix Rising and what does that mean. But, we had the honor of learning from top leaders, including Dan Bell, John Maxwell. And the one thing that was really reinforced to me is that we are in a cycle of a business, and every single business has cycles. And so there's two ways I'm going to phrase this, but I'm going to go with John Maxwell first. And John Maxwell said, every business has a cycle of success. And this might be worth writing down. And there were five things. So the first is the test, right? So like you can think about when you became an Optavia coach, right? You kind of go out there, you're kind of testing it to see if it's going to work, right? We test different things like social media, different things that we do. There's naturally failures. In every single business, there's naturally failures. So blink at me if you've ever felt like a failure or didn't do something quite the way that you wanted to do it, or things didn't go your way. Somebody's fluttering their eyes at me. I saw that. And then we learn, right? We learn from our failures, right? It's not in the good times that we grow. It's in the harder times that we grow. And when we fail, we learn how to come back better. So with that learning, there is improvement. And then with that improvement, then we re-enter and the cycle starts again. So what he says is that the cycle is always going up. Like your business is never going to look like it did before because you have now leveled up. And what we really wanted to recognize as I sat there in the meetings was that you guys are here. You guys are the ones that are committed, right? You are committed to this mission. You're committed to this community. I'll put them in the chat after, Lucy, what the 5 were. But you're committed. And I want you to know, I see you. Meg sees you. Frank and Shauna see you. Lauren see you. Your coach sees you. Like, we are glad that you are here. And we're coming through this storm, this challenge, this season. And everything's seasonal. But what John said was this. He said, it is your best hour right now, because some people have left the business, right? Some people have left, right? We know that. But he said, there are tough times, and in tough times, people learn. During good times, they come back. So we can even talk about that with our clients, right? But the thing is right now, you are already going. So as we start with our cycle and we start moving, you are here, you are positioned, you are engaged, you're doing actions. And so you're positioned to go with this next wave. So Dr. Anderson always talks about Operation Buffalo. And he talks about when there's a storm and like the cows and all the animals will run away, but the buffalo will run into the storm. And corporate and leadership, we've been under what we've called Operation Buffalo. And I've never been more impressed with how the company is working with the markets, doing what they can to position us as we're evolving. But you know what? We've gone through that challenge. We're in the challenge, and it was brought up now, and I wanted to share the picture of it. And as I kind of read this, the thing now is it's the phoenix rising. And what does the phoenix rising symbolize? The phoenix is a mythical golden bird associated with renewal and regeneration. Rising from the ashes of a previous life, the phoenix is a symbol of hope, of life, and of better things to come. It's born from the knowledge and the experience of difficult times and challenging circumstances. So we're in the phoenix rising. That's why we had that image, right? Just want to encourage you that we're in this place that now we're ready to grow, right? In the next version of ourselves, et cetera. And we were all left with the challenge of, are you willing to take 100% responsibility for your business? 100%. Because Dan Bell talks about the 4 cycles of business, and he says there's the creative building stage, there's the management phase. We just kind of start managing what we got, right? Then comes the blaming stage, and then comes the dying stage. So we were all asked to be really honest with ourselves. And where are you right now? You do not have to put that in the chat, but where are you, right? And are you willing to take responsibility? You know, I believe you are. We've got 70 people on this call, so that is exciting. But really, like, you guys are perfectly positioned. Optavia is working with us. We learned a lot more about the weight loss, the drugs, what that is, and how we're going to be able to partner with that. It is just part of our market, and we're evolving with it to be able to do what we've always done, which is provide coach support, education, community support, and proven nutrition plans. So we are who we are. We are evolving with this changing market. So I'm excited about it. We've put out this 21-day challenge. We were really reminded about the importance of supporting our clients. Like, they need us, whether or not you think your clients need you or not, if they're not picking up the phone, et cetera. And we learned about this 21-day challenge that some of the top leaders are doing, and we are replicating it. And all of those details are in Coaches Up for Change. And we have a kickoff call for that for the clients who want to participate, as well as as you guys are coaches on Wednesday night. It's gonna be at 7:30 p.m. So everything's over there. We have an email that we want you to send when we finish this call out to all your active and inactive clients. And I don't know who's ready. Put a 5 in the chat if you are ready to light this fire and be rising with the Phoenix right now. All right, well, good stuff. We are going to take the next portion of the call is really going to be our leaders celebrating and sharing what they learned. And we're going to start with Lauren.
Hey, well, I'm super honored and excited to share tonight. And it's so fun to see so many of your faces, you know, that we haven't gotten to see in a little bit. So just know that you belong here. And wanted to just share a few takeaways that really impacted me. And I'm going to set my timer because you guys know I like to talk. So the number one thing was something that John Maxwell talked with us about. And he talked about the importance of being growth oriented versus goal oriented. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like in our business and for myself personally, I've been very goal oriented. And I don't know about you guys, but when you get to a place that you're setting goals and doing your map and not getting there, or maybe you're trying to just get back to a rank or whatever it might be, it can feel really defeating and exhausting. And so he talked about instead really having being growth oriented and intentionally personally growing every day. And really with growth, there's not a finish line. You don't get to a place and say, oh, I'm done growing. That's it. And when we have a goal, often there's a finish line to it. And when you cross the finish line, you're finished. So it can be this feeling of, okay, well, what's next? And often there can be a plateau or a decline. And so, I loved that. And he said, when you're living in a growth and a creative world, you never run out of fuel. You're living in abundance. And some things that kind of signify being goal oriented is asking the question, where am I going? Focusing on stats and being like your value is kind of in the achievement. Whereas when you're growth oriented, your value is in the development and you're focusing on growth and really stretching yourself. And you're asking yourself, how am I growing? And one thing that really stood out to me with this that I've noticed is honestly, sometimes when I'm in that goal oriented mindset, I don't really want to step on the scale. I don't want to look at my numbers. I stopped doing maps. I stopped, right? My whiteboard ahead of me says May 2023 because I felt defeated. And I felt like because I wasn't achieving these goals that it just felt defeating. And so I'm actually really excited to focus on growth and just to focus on, well, how can I become better today? How can I do better? And he said, the growth within you will help you rise above the goals before you. And so I loved that. Another thing that we talked about a lot was the secret of success lies in what we do daily. And so successful people are highly intentional people. So a few things that I decided that I'm going to start doing daily. Number one is just starting off my day in gratitude. Many of you guys have heard me talk about that before, and I used to do that every single day, and I've gotten out of that habit. And Nick Johnson said something that was so powerful. Nick Johnson is our president, and he said, when you focus on what you lack, you lose what you have. But when you focus on what you have, you get what you lack. And so when we can start our day off in a state of gratitude, it will absolutely change the way that you look at your business, your conversations, and will bring that more of an energy that you want to share with other people. So for myself, I'm going to focus on gratitude. I'm going to focus on having devotional prayer time and personal development time daily, daily movement. That might be taking a walk with the girls. It doesn't have to be intense, but just intentionally moving my body daily and fueling my body well. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was just getting back to the basics. So can I just be really honest with you guys? And this is really hard for me to share. But when we were there this weekend, I looked at my frontline projection on Optavia Connect. And this might sound bad, but I haven't really had to be super intentional about my frontline in a long time. Because it's been something where I've kind of just been able to maintain it. And my frontline had dropped where it was projected to be like 4,500. And I was so upset. And I was exhausted and I didn't want to work on it, to be honest. And then I made a decision in the airport when I was about to get on the plane. I had my Something Borrowed book in front of me that I was reading, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on what I can do and getting into that creative growth mindset. And so I just pulled out my phone and started connecting and started deciding that I was going to make it about the people, not about the number, but just about the people. And I'm going to hit 6,000 frontline this month. I have already 4 people who've placed orders that weren't supposed to, and a new coach or a coach that's restarted. And I just am excited. And so just getting back to the basics and the principles that really work, our daily business building activities, picking up the phone and just calling people, writing a heart list, like a hundreds heart list, and just going after it. And last thing I was going to say is I loved this question. They said to ask yourself, what is it that I really want for my future self? And what are 3 daily actions that I can do to reach this reality and identity in my life? So I could share on and on, but I'm going to stop because I already went over my 4 minutes.
That was so good, Lauren. I think, so much that was talked about in the meeting was mindset, right? Like mindset, like, is it really the world going on around us, or is our mindset playing part of it? And thanks for your transparency that there was a party that was like, maybe I'll just read my fiction book. And then you took 100% responsibility, right? 100% responsibility, put the focus on the people. Who can I help? And 4 people are ready to re-engage or get engaged. So that, really gets to the heart of it, I believe. So thank you for being so honest, because I think all of us need that kind of wake up call, and no giving up, right? Like, here you're going to cross the finish line, and that could be any of us on this call before the end of the month, if that's what we wanted. So awesome. Awesome. Well, Shauna, I know this was an impactful meeting for you for many reasons. So can't wait for you to share.
Well, thank you. Yes, this event was one that I was so excited to attend until I wasn't. Until life hit, and on the very last day to cancel tickets, y'all, I sent Dee a message and said we might not be there. Well, let me tell you, I was so glad that we were there the moment I walked into that conference room with 1,000 Optavia coaches. The entire weekend was one gold nugget after another. But on Friday afternoon, Dr. A had a conversation with Jamil Frazier that I think was just for me on facts versus stories. So the fact is, there is growth in Optavia, y'all. Clients are being signed up every day. But some of us have been in a season of yuck in our business. It's been a season of storytelling for a lot of us. And I often feel like I personally could take the award for the most storytelling coach on Dee's team. If I can be honest with you, the stories I was telling myself were what had convinced me that we shouldn't and couldn't go to this event. So this conversation between Dr. A and Jamil was my personal biggest moment over the weekend. Jamil was very open and honest about what he has seen in his business over the last year. And I needed to hear that. I had it in my mind that the struggles were exclusive to me or to other coaches that I know personally, some of you here, but not the big ones, right? Not the charismatic, highly successful coaches who have empires compared to our business. It just seemed impossible to me that they would be feeling the same things that I was feeling. So Dr. A dug into, with Jamil, what was fact about his business. And it wasn't all pretty. And it sounded a lot like our struggles, just on a larger scale. But then Dr. A asked Jamil to share some of the stories that he was telling himself. And I'm going to tell you, it was powerful. Some of these that I'm going to share with you were some of the stories that he told himself. And some of them are mine, obviously. I'm no longer worthy of this business. I must be a terrible coach. Maybe my team no longer likes me or respects me, or they would be showing up, right? Maybe, just maybe, I should do something else instead of this. And let's not forget our clients, right? Everyone hates the food. Can I get an amen? None of my clients will talk to me. They ghost me every week. And I don't think they like me anymore either. Does any of this resonate? If it does, put a 1 in the chat if you have told yourself stories like this. It was raw, it was real, And it was oh so relatable. And I know there were a lot of tears in the room because I think a lot of us were sitting out there feeling all the feels of Jamil's stories. So how do we get to the other side of this storytelling place? Well, let's just remember a few things. When things feel out of control or like everything is falling apart, remember it's rarely because of the facts. Those feelings are usually because of the stories that we're believing around the facts. When the stories are swirling in your thoughts, ask yourself, what if for just a moment the opposite was true? You know, it's very much like Stop, Challenge, Choose, I think. We have to identify what's going on and then consider what is actually fact and what is a story. And then this was something I heard that I thought was a good reminder. In our business, if we don't stay above the line, there's a domino effect on the rest of our team. So one of the ways we stay above the line is staying out of that drama triangle that Dr. A teaches us about. And I don't know about you, but my drama triangle is usually slam full of stories. So let's just look at some facts as I wrap up. Fact: Optavia is a debt-free company. They are solid. They love us as coaches, and they know without you, clients would not be supported in the way that only we can do. We heard this all weekend. Fact: if you've been a coach for a hot minute, you know that clients and coaches come and go. And you know what? They come and go for every single business out there. It's not because of you. Fact: not everyone hates the food. There are plenty of clients who love just about everything that Optavia offers. Fact: I talk to clients and coaches every week. Not all my clients are avoiding me. You know what they're doing? They're just making a choice not to be accountable to their own health. It's not you. And most important, and I want to leave you with this fact: you are so worthy of having an Optavia business. So even when those stories creep in, I want you to remember they're just that. They're stories, not fact. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna. Yeah, I think it was powerful. I mean, most of us know, thank you for sharing that. Sometimes hearing that's why our stories are so powerful, right? You heard Jamil's story and it was so powerful. He gave specific statistics on his business. And Meg, do you remember what some of those were?
I feel like don't quote us on this, but I feel like he said his income was down 56% from where it was last year. And the number of his team members were down 52% from where they were last year. So some pretty staggering statistics. And if you have been around Jamil, you know he is incredible. He was somebody that is worthy of being like, we'd all want him to be our leader, right? He's incredible and so worthy. And so the fact that somebody who is so incredible and inspirational was having these stories really allowed us to see like it's okay to have stories, but it's important to know the facts and the truth. And so anyways, it was just so powerful. So thanks, Shauna, for reminding us of that.
Yeah, it was so good. And Dr. A was just challenging him with some of the questions, like, is that true? Are you, a good leader? He had a whole team with him, like, yes, people were there. And by the end, and this is really the point of the messaging, and I'm sure what Shauna wanted to share is when you verbally say it, you get it out, you hear it, you realize the facts. Jamil was fired up. He was fired up. Like, you know what? Like all of us are like, you know what? There's a world out there that needs us. We're ready. We're ready. So Frank, what you got?
All right. Well, first of all, before I start, I want to thank our team. As leaders, we don't qualify for an event like this on our own. It was for FIBICs and above, and FIBIC are just executive directors with at least 5 senior. And we have an amazing group of coaches. And I want you to know, and Shauna and I want you to know that we recognize you and acknowledge you. And we want to thank you for chasing your dreams. This weekend was special. And many of you know my style of coaching. I'm a type A, hard driving coach. And I don't do well with playing the victim or listening to those cheap excuses or quitters. And I don't like criticism. I'm working on all that. So a large part of my philosophy in the past has always been just keep working, keep driving, keep working, and it'll come. And to a certain extent, that's true. But what I failed to recognize, despite my massive action, I also needed to work on me. So much of this weekend hit home. And I realized that, I'd planned on talking about something else tonight. I wanted to talk about specific teaching and thoughts, client support, coach support, but all that required more time. So I thought I would share with you how the weekend impacted me. And maybe that will help you. John Maxwell said this weekend, if you're going to grow, you have to grow on purpose. If you're going to grow, you have to grow on purpose. And I realized I wasn't growing on purpose. I just kind of thought it was going to happen along the way. The last several months, I've struggled with my own eating habits. I've struggled with my own reading habits. And I have failed to show up for my clients and for our coaches like they needed me to. It's no one's fault but my own. And I realized this weekend I needed to invest in me. Of course, I want to help others. This is an amazing program. Where else can you go to lose weight in a very safe way? What other business provides this amount of support? What other business can you start for $200 and eventually replace your full-time six-figure income like we did? Income disclaimer here. But this business is amazing. And sometimes I need to remind myself of that. This business is worthy, and I'm worthy. So I had let my cup become empty. My cup was empty and I could not pour from it any longer. I was fatigued. I was disappointed. I was failing. Yeah, we had some success, but I was not the leader. I was not the example I should have been or could have been. And this weekend reminded me it's time for me to fill my cup back up. Once I start filling it, then and only then can I begin to serve others. That doesn't mean I need to wait. Waiting, procrastination, I don't do well with those excuses either. Oh no, I'm not going to wait. I'm still going to work and work hard, but I'm going to work just as hard on me, growing on purpose. That's what I needed to remind myself of. Finding time when I don't think I have time, showing up when I don't want to, picking up the phone when it's hard, and hearing no and not yet again and again and again. I need to grow on purpose during those times. I need to quit looking back. I need to quit looking ahead. I need to invest in me now. I need to read more. I need to eat right most of the time. I need to invest in me more, growing on purpose. John Maxwell said this weekend, we have uphill and downhill habits. He said, you can't go uphill with downhill habits. He said, no one has ever drifted to success. He said, you don't coast to the top. He said, it will be uphill all the way. See, I thought my hard work would allow me to coast to success, but I wasn't growing on purpose until now. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Wow. Frank, that was incredible. I hope you take a minute to read the chat. It's blowing up. And for all of us, we have never seen you so vulnerable and so beautiful and eloquent. So thank you for sharing your heart with all of us and for inspiring us. Wanted to share just a couple of things, and I'm going to just take what I was going to say and just shorten it as much as I can. But let's talk about that personal growth that Frank so beautifully inspired us with, right? Personal growth, like I'm sure you're fired up like I am, like all of us are after hearing Frank. So how can we have that growth if we want it? And if you want that growth, put a me in the chat right now. But personal growth is determined by what we do every single day, right? Leaders, they're not born in a day, right? There's no 6-week leadership program we can be a part of. It's something that we become every single day through our habits and our actions, right? John Maxwell has written over 130 books. I haven't even read 130 books, yet he has written 130 books. How did he do that? How does he do that? He's publishing 3 more right now. He's accomplished so much in his life, not because he works all the time, but it's because he works consistently every single day. He reads, he writes, he journals, he asks questions, he files his thoughts away, right? So if you want to live a life of intentionality, a life of growth, you've got to have some everyday essentials, some things in your life and some things in my life that are not optional, things that have to happen. So I want to just challenge you to think about what disciplines are essential to you and to your life to help you get these dreams and this personal growth that you're after. For me, some of those things are exercise, making sure I'm writing and reading and asking questions and working my business. But think about what those 5 things are for you. Because here's what I know. People, like Frank said, people come and go in this business all the time, right? In 6 years, I've seen people come in and out of this business, people with incredible capability, incredible hearts, incredible spheres of influence, and people who've walked away from all of that because they stopped showing up. And so I just want to encourage you to not let that be you. This is a business that we all get better at every single day, but you have to stay in the business to get better, right? I have to stay in the business to get better. We all do. And I know for so many of us, we've had a calling, right? So what's a calling? A calling is a strong inner instinct towards a particular course of action that has conviction, right? So when I became a coach, I felt a calling to help transform somebody's life. I felt a calling to help my mom. I felt a calling to help people that I loved. And I have a feeling that you came here because you have a calling too. And that calling is going to impact other people's lives. So just want to encourage you to resist the urge to fall into the shiny object syndrome, right? Where we follow the shiny object around. This, just like Frank said, this is so worthy. Like we are changing people's lives and families and giving them more energy when we're here, when we show up for ourselves, and when we show up for others. So thank you so much for being here. I want to challenge you. We have this great 21-day challenge coming out. We wrote an email for you. We have all these resources. So take action tonight, like Lauren did. Send out that email, send out text messages, and encourage the people in your world. You just may have 4 people whose lives are changing, just like Lauren, because you are taking action. So thank you all for being on here live. And if you're catching the recording, thank you too. And we will see you here next week. Have a good one.
Bye. Love you guys.